Stop trying to put your old life back together. If you were meant to be there, you would still be there. There is a reason that you're not there anymore. In doing this, you're pushing away everything that's for you right now. Everything is workable. The unknown, the uncertainty of what tomorrow might bring is life. This is living. This is being fearlessly human. I get it. I was the type A planner. Everything was written down. After competing for 7 years, if it wasn't in the planner, it didn't get done. And then one day, my world fell apart. Oh, June 19th, 2020. Quarter-sized blisters filled my back. Each day it got worse and worse. It wrapped under my armpit. Couldn't even put my arm down. I was a week away from turning 30, and it was 10 days before my 6th bodybuilding show. I lived in San Diego, California. If you know me, if you've seen me competing, you know my heart and soul goes into this. Why me? What was happening? It felt like somebody was just holding a lighter to my back. I cried and cried and cried. It's been almost 3 years, and it still makes me cry because I was in so much pain. And I realized my body had been talking to me for a long time, and I was ignoring it. I was neglecting my health, my relationships in my life. I was just trying to control everything. And in trying to control everything, I lost who I was completely. I cried. I swam in the salt water. I called my sister looking for every herbal remedy there was. I didn't want to go to the hospital. I work in healthcare, and I didn't want to go to the hospital because I was so afraid of the steroids and the medications that would make me blow up like a balloon. These blisters just got worse and worse. Eventually, I had one the size of a dime underneath my tongue. And then I started to get like a stroke-like face drop on the left side of my face. And I was like, this is it. I hit my knees at my bedside, and I put my hands together, and I prayed so hard I could feel the sweat running down my forearms. And I just said, I don't want to live anymore. And I've never said that in my whole life. So if you're going through something right now that makes you feel like you don't want to live anymore, you're not alone. Just trust me in that. It doesn't have to be shingles. It doesn't have to be a health issue. Maybe it's a divorce. Maybe it's infidelity. Maybe it's getting fired from a job. Maybe it's infertility. I don't know what it is. But what I learned was you can't control life. You have to expose your wounds. You have to heal. You have to let things happen for you because nothing is happening to you. I remember when I finally called a friend to bring me to the emergency room. I was like, I don't want to live anymore. Just pick me up. Like, bring me to the hospital. It was still COVID time frame. So I was sitting outside, and the heat lamps were on because you had masks on. They were only letting certain people in the building. And the air was, there was a breeze, and it was brushing on my back and rubbing over these blisters. And I couldn't stand it. And I finally got into a room, and I was in a reclining chair. There was no beds. I was separated by a sheet with a stranger. There was a stranger there. I don't know who it was. And, it was about 5 days after all of this had happened. And that control, that plan, that life that I laid out for myself just wasn't my current reality. Instead, I felt isolated and lost and confused. Like, I followed the plan. I did what I was told. Why is this happening to me? Then I reframed my mindset and realized it's all happening for me. I just don't understand why right now. So they gave me some medications. They sent me home, and I got my first night's rest after 5 days. And the next morning, the ER doctor called me, and I was boarding a plane to go compete. Stupidest decision of my life. She begged me not to go, and I said, you don't understand, lady. I've been training for 7 months. I'm going to this show. And I showed up in Reno, Nevada, and I won the whole show. The whole show. Men, women, everything, with shingles covering my back. Yes, it was not contagious anymore, but there were still blisters all over my back. And where it started was completely black. It had been so long. It was like eating me alive. It was the worst pain in the whole world. To this day, I get tingles on the left side of my spine. That's how I know that I'm not managing my stress well. That's me listening to my body. I may have won that show, but you know what? It did nothing for me. You know what that did for me? Is it made me sit down and reflect about what I'm doing to my body and to my health. And if I want to live a really long life, I have to be okay with not knowing. I have to be okay with not planning. And I have to be okay with listening to my gut instinct because I just pushed all that aside and just forgot about it, really. So today, the scars on my back remind me of my breakthrough, not my breakdown. And maybe you have physical scars. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's mental. Maybe you just push everything that's happened to you way deep down and so you never have to deal with it. I don't recommend that. Rock bottom, you guys, it's temporary. But just like waves in our life, the waves of joy, the heavy and light seasons, they come and go. And pain makes you pay attention. You're going to relive heavy and light seasons in your life. You have to work through them. But in doing this, you're going to serve the pain you know best. You're going to help other people. I didn't realize that all happened. So I would walk away from bodybuilding. So I would become a physician. So I would travel to third world countries and help people that needed me more than anything. I was so selfish for so long until my body said, no more, Shauna. So if you feel like you're falling apart, you're not alone. You get to fall apart. Nothing in this life is happening to you. It's all happening for you. And even though this was 2 years ago, clearly it's still so close to my heart because it hurts. It was physical pain. And if it's mental pain, if it's emotional pain, spiritual, whatever it is that you're going through, it's not going to go away until you work through it, until you talk about it, until you figure out what works for you. But the best part about putting the planner down and filing the fear away is when life gives you a big dose of crap, something you didn't want, something you didn't ask for, you can say, thank you. I know this is for me. I love y'all so much.